episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 370, The Relicanth Really Can. The episode begins with Ash and the gang still on their way to Maz Deep City, though when they got on a boat to another island, they ended up on Wazoo Island first. Along the way, specifically, they arrived right off the port at Grand Wazoo Resort, and more specifically, they were at Grand Wazoo Resort's famous beach. Ash, me, and Max were all commenting on how beautiful the beach looked, and just the overall island in general, while Brock, on the other hand, was commenting on how beautiful all the girls in swimsuits were, literally developing hearts in his eyes. Max then revealed that according to his Pokénav, the Grand Wazoo Resort was very, very famous for its beach. Just then, Ash and the gang noticed a shape in the water, and they heard a weird laughing sound. And this laughing sound was revealed to come from the shape in the water, which emerged from the water, revealing itself as a strange seaweed creature, which immediately scared Ash and the gang, obviously. They were frightened by this shit. Ash instantly questioned if it was a new Pokemon that he had never seen before, although Brock doubted this, confirming to Ash that he knew of basically every Hoenn Pokemon at this point, after looking at his guidebook, and he did not think that this was a goddamn Pokemon. Suddenly, the Pokemon dropped a sack on the ground and took off its weeds and mask to reveal that it was actually a man in a wetsuit who introduced himself as Adam, a treasure hunter. And Adam proved that he was a treasure hunter by taking a necklace made out of green shards from his sack, and explaining that he had found this necklace made of green shards and was able to find out that it was actually made of rare emeralds, and that's why he was looking for it in the first place. And Adam then confirmed that diving for treasure underwater, such as these rare emeralds and other gems, was his whole livelihood, and that is what he liked to do. Brock expressed that he was intrigued, wanting to see more of Adam's treasures that he found, because he was able to identify these green gems, and noted that they were extremely old emeralds. Not only were they rare, but they were also old. So with that, Adam agreed to take Ash and the gang to his shop, where he had plenty of the rare items that he had found for sale, explaining that that's how he made a living, for real. Like, he had to dive for the treasures, obviously, but he couldn't make money unless he sold them. And Ash and the gang proudly observed many shells and other items that seemed to have come from Pokemon, as well as, your basic gems and shit like that. Adam then introduces Ash and the gang to his wife Evelyn, who was in the shop, and showed her the necklace made of green gems that he had found, explaining that he found it in his most recent trip underwater. Upon examining the necklace, Evelyn confirmed that the necklace was made out of extremely rare green emerald shards, which were extremely valuable, and actually worth more than any item Adam has found previously, stating that she recognized these gems as being used to make jewelry a long time ago. Adam then asked how much money they could potentially sell these emeralds for, leading Evelyn to state that although they were rare, and they could make a decent amount of cash from it, they couldn't become rich or anything, and this made Adam sad. Although Ash and the gang tried to comfort Adam, saying that the emeralds were pretty either way, with especially May thinking so. Although Adam explained that he was especially disappointed that not just that the emeralds weren't rare, but he was disappointed that they weren't the long-lost treasure from a sunken cargo ship called the King Neptune, explaining that he had been looking for this supposed sunken treasure from the ship basically for his entire career, and it was essentially the entire reason why he started looking for treasure in the first place as well. And he explained that a whole bunch of other shit that he had found wasn't even related to the ship either, and it made him really frustrated. We then see a flashback of what even happened to the King Neptune ship, which was the ship being caught in a whirlpool during a storm and starting to sink, causing all of the crew members to fall off the ship and start struggling in the water until they were fortunately able to escape on lifeboats. But the ship wasn't so lucky, as it sank to the bottom of the ocean. Though Adam clarified that there was a legend related to the sinking of the King Neptune, which was that there was a treasure beyond what even humans could comprehend or some shit. And Adam of course assumed that this treasure would have to be at the bottom of the ocean, where the King Neptune was, so that's why he wanted to go find it. And he also stated his belief that he could find the treasure before any other treasure hunters, even though the mystery of the King Neptune treasure, which had been going on for over a century at this point, had intrigued many other treasure hunters, since he thought he had a lead as to how he could find the treasure, stating that there seemed to be a connection between the local Relicanth and the treasure, because the necklace that he found was hooked onto a Relicanth. Even though the necklace wasn't at all related to the treasure, Adam thought that if Relicanth was connected to one treasure, being the necklace, then maybe it was connected to the treasure of the King Neptune. And we then see a bit of a flashback with Adam diving down close to a bottom part of the ocean when he saw Relicanth carrying the necklace on its fin, and the Relicanth suddenly dropped the necklace and swam away, allowing Adam to pick it up with no difficulty. Ash had remembered hearing the name Relicanth, so he looked it up in his Pokédex and recognized it as a Pokemon that he saw near the start of his Hoenn journey. I think it was like the second episode, if I remember correctly, the one at those ruins by Odile Town. Anyways, Max stated how Relicanth was an ancient Pokemon, so it could definitely be related to treasure from a century ago, and Brock confirmed that he had the same suspicion as both Max and Adam, stating that Relicanth and the necklace could definitely have a connection. May agreed as well, though only because she was kind of bored and wanted to go on an adventure, and she figured that finding this treasure would definitely prove a great adventure. Adam then began to rant about just how much he wanted to find that damn treasure, and his wife Evelyn agreed with him. Ash and the gang agreed that they wanted to go on an adventure and find the treasure as well, and upon hearing this, Adam instantly allowed Ash and the gang to come with him and Evelyn to go find the treasure, with Adam suggesting that they search for a Relicanth first, since a Relicanth would likely take them straight to the treasure. Meanwhile, as for Team Rocket, they were right outside the shop, hiding in some bushes, having managed to overhear the entire conversation about the treasure and Relicanth, and what Ash and the gang and Adam and Evelyn were about to go do in order to find it. Jesse and James instantly wanted the sunken treasure for themselves, believing that it had to be something rare, and James planned on buying a whole bunch of contraptions and shit with all of the treasure, and Jesse planned on going to a whole bunch of faraway places and living in luxury, and they had fantasies about this, all based on their belief that they would easily obtain the treasure somehow. As hearts formed in Jesse and James' eyes, Meowth shut them the fuck up, telling them that their wants didn't matter, and they instead had to give the treasure to Giovanni. And Meowth had a vision of why Giovanni would want the treasure, and suggested that the treasure was probably a whole bunch of jewelry, gold, and other stuff, and Giovanni would likely want to have his bedroom decorated with all of this gold and jewelry, and he had a vision of this. He also envisioned Giovanni waking up one day and remembering how Jesse, James, and Meowth were the ones who had given this awesome new bedroom to Giovanni, and basically he would be so grateful that he would end up giving Team Rocket promotions. Jesse and James were in love with the idea of promotions as usual, as they all cheered, becoming determined to get the treasure for Giovanni. Meanwhile, back with Ash and the gang, Adam and Evelyn. Evelyn was driving the boat that had Adam and Ash and the gang on it, and they drove out to the middle of the sea, although Adam and Ash and the gang quickly deployed Adam's submarine from the boat after Evelyn pressed a button and got inside. Evelyn did some quick preliminary checks on the submarine to make sure it was safe, and with that, Evelyn stayed on the surface of the water inside the boat, while Ash and the gang and Adam went underwater in the submarine to search for the treasure. Strapping themselves in and going full speed ahead, because there was no reason not to, since the submarine was fully safe, as determined by Evelyn. Evelyn made sure to keep in contact with Adam and Ash and the gang through a monitor connecting the boat to the submarine, as the submarine went deeper and deeper down into the ocean, which also made the surroundings darker and darker and darker and darker, so Adam was forced to turn on the lights, while simultaneously watching the submarine's sonar radar like a hawk for a hint of any treasure. Upon turning on the headlights on the submarine, a lot of water Pokemon were suddenly visible, including some Whalmer, a Wailord, a Huntail, and Max even spotted a group of Chinchou, eagerly looking out the window, while Ash spotted a Seadra, and May spotted a Mantine, and Brock spotted this Mantine as well. Ash was amazed at all the water Pokemon they were seeing, despite not even being at the bottom of the ocean yet, where he expected the most rare water Pokemon would probably be. Just then, the sonar radar goes off some more in the submarine, hinting towards a specific spot. So, Adam drives the submarine to that spot, and Adam then sees a Relicanth on the monitor and realizes that the radar must have picked it up as well. Immediately after the appearance of the Relicanth, which Adam was amazed by, as well as Ash, who was excited to see one after such a long time, the submarine then started to shake violently, and Evelyn noticed this, seeing how the submarine appeared to be moving due to its rapid movements on the radar, and radioed Adam from the boat to check on them. Adam confirmed to her that they were relatively okay, although he was trying to figure out what the source of this shaking was, when suddenly Ash and the gang and Adam spotted the cause on the monitor being Team Rocket's gigantic Magikarp sub, with Ash being the one to recognize it as Team Rocket's Magikarp sub, and not just a random one, and he warned Adam about them, telling him about how annoying and fucking dangerous Team Rocket could be, while Evelyn listened in, still tuned in, to the submarine, and she became worried because of Team Rocket. It was then fully revealed that the shaking was caused by how fast James, Jesse, and Meowth were pedaling the Magikarp sub, following Ash and the gang, although Jesse was complaining how they should have brought a motor for the Magikarp submarine so they wouldn't have to tire themselves out, because they were getting very tired with how fast they were going. This leads James to send out his Chimecho, not to help pedal, no, because it obviously couldn't, but so that it could use its soft voice and shit to give them some nice motivation to continue pedaling. Back on Ash and the gang's submarine, they started to feel a lot more shaking, and this was actually because in the Magikarp submarine, Meowth hit a button to fire 2 torpedoes at Ash and the gang's submarine, which also damaged the submarine as well. Following this, Team Rocket manages to tap into Ash and the Gang submarine's radio and pulls up alongside Ash and the Gang submarine and taunts them on the radio that they were going to get their treasure first, not Ash and the Gang, though Ash and the Gang denied this. And Adam simply just switched Team Rocket off of the radio and instead contacted Evelyn to assure her that they were still okay, even after even more shaking, and informed her that they were going after a group called Team Rocket in order to stop them from getting the treasure after Ash had told Adam how dangerous Team Rocket could be. And with that, Evelyn wished Ash and the Gang some luck, and they went after Team Rocket with Adam, although Team Rocket had since went ahead of Ash and the Gang, and were going further down into the ocean. And Team Rocket started to pedal even faster since they spotted a Relicanth, and they believed that the Relicanth would lead them to the treasure. However, Team Rocket happened to pedal so hard that leaks started to come in to their submarine somehow, and James and Meowth started to panic because the leaks were getting pretty bad and started to flood the sub. Even Chimecho was getting a bit concerned, but Jesse simply told Team Rocket to press ahead regardless. However, the leaks started to grow larger, and it was to the point where the entire submarine was getting flooded. So this left Team Rocket unable to properly pedal the Magikarp sub, so they weren't in control, and since the current was pretty bad, the Magikarp sub got pushed along and washed away by the current, screaming at how helpless they were, as they really hoped they would survive. And just then, Ash and the gang, since Team Rocket wasn't doing anything to them, were easily able to surpass Team Rocket, since they weren't even moving anymore because they were washed away by the current. And once they had surpassed Team Rocket, they of course encountered the Relicanth as well, and they also spotted an underwater cave. At the same time, though, the current was getting very bad, so for a second, Adam questioned if they should even continue to follow the Relicanth into this cave, since he was debating if they should just fucking leave the water because the current was so dangerous. But Adam knew that they must be close to the treasure if Relicanth was going into this secret cave. Maybe the treasure was even fucking in this cave. So the submarine pushed through, following Relicanth into the cave. Meanwhile, Evelyn, on the surface in the boat, got extremely pissed off at the fact that Adam never listened to her, as Evelyn had warned Adam countless times that although he should pursue his dreams of being a treasure hunter, and she definitely supported these dreams, he shouldn't risk his goddamn life, and it seemed as though he was risking his life because Evelyn had lost contact with the submarine due to the depth of the cave and the worsening current, and Evelyn was extremely frustrated at this. Still trying to reach them using the radio, but it wasn't working whatsoever. Eventually, the current got really bad, and even Adam was having difficulty driving the sub, despite him doing it for all his life, basically. But he managed to skillfully maneuver the sub through the small cave, but eventually even he couldn't stand the rough current anymore, and he lost control. So he told everyone to hang on and brace for impact, fearing that they would crash or some shit. And eventually, Ash and the gang were so terrified that they passed out, although thankfully Adam stayed awake, so they didn't crash. And later, Ash and the gang were woken up by Adam, surprised that they were all okay and unharmed. Ash and Pikachu were the first ones to be woken up, followed by Brock, then Max, then May. And they were all shocked, not only at the fact that they were unharmed, because they really thought that Adam would have crashed them or some shit, but they were shocked at the fact that now the emergency red lights of the submarine were on, signifying that the submarine was pretty damaged. At the end of the day, though, Ash and the gang were just glad they were okay, and Adam was glad they were okay as well, because he didn't want to be responsible for the death of some young kids. Anyways, they then turned their attention to outside the window as they noticed that they had made it to shore in the underwater cave, and signifying that there was like a mini beach in there or some shit, and beyond the beach there was a little area of water that contained none other than an old sailing ship, which Adam identified as the King Neptune, as, you know, what other sunken ship could there have been down there? Obviously, Adam was immensely overjoyed to see the King Neptune, and rushed off to explore it, looking for the treasure. Leaving Ash and the gang alone to admire the underground cave that they realized had unusually fresh air and glowing moss on rocks, as well as an opening which they identified as the cause for how they got to this little area of the cave in the first place. Just then, a whole bunch of Relicanth come out from the hull of the ship, and Ash and the gang realized that Relicanth must have been living in the ship the whole time, and it appeared as though it was a relatively good habitat because the Relicanth didn't look injured and they actually looked happy. And Ash and the gang were happy as well to admire all the Relicanth, amazed by them, since they were supposed to be super rare, and here they were, finding a whole bunch of them. Just then, Adam came out from the ship, revealing that he found a treasure chest, laughing happily as he placed his foot on it, guarding it to make sure no one else would come to it, and he quickly ran back to Ash and the gang, and was just about to open it, when suddenly, Ash and the gang heard a voice coming from the water, which was none other than Team Rocket, specifically the radio from Team Rocket's Magikarp sub, which Team Rocket had echoing, so Ash and the gang could hear them say their motto, as they then hopped out of their Magikarp sub, and finished the motto with Trimeco joining in. Ash and Adam yell at Team Rocket, telling them to fuck off basically, so that they wouldn't bother taking the treasure, but Team Rocket don't listen, as they just laugh, and Meowth presses a button connected to the Magikarp submarine that releases a rope-tied plunger to grab the chest, and then pull it back into the Magikarp sub, leaving Adam to run forward in anger, trying to retrieve the chest. But Meowth just pressed another button on the Magikarp submarine to send out two more torpedoes straight towards Ash and the gang and Adam, although thankfully Ash and the gang and Adam were able to dodge them, but the torpedoes still ended up hitting the already wrecked ship, as Team Rocket celebrate at the fact that they now had the treasure chest. Although, as Team Rocket celebrated their success and were about to go into their Magikarp sub to escape, they then noticed that the missiles hitting the ship had disturbed the Relicanth that lived inside, and now they had swam out and decided to circle Team Rocket, knowing that Team Rocket were the ones that had endangered their home, the ship. And Team Rocket noted that the Relicanth sure did look extremely angry, so they tried to scare them away by yelling at them, and Wobbuffet also forcibly popped out his Pokeball to scare the Relicanth as well, but the Relicanth were not intimidated whatsoever, and just ended up getting angrier. So Jesse tried a different strategy, which was to snatch the remote from Meowth, much to his annoyance, as Jesse then activates two more torpedoes, sending them from the Magikarp sub all the way to the Relicanth. Although Ash, not wanting the Relicanth to get hurt, sent out his Corphish and had it use a Bubble Beam to destroy the torpedoes in the nick of time, causing a minor explosion in the process. But while Ash was distracted with Corphish, Team Rocket took the opportunity to make their escape with the treasure chest in their Magikarp sub, causing a huge wave, making sure that they could not be followed, as Meowth took the remote back from Jesse and hit another button on it just to send out two more torpedoes from the back of the Magikarp sub, causing a cave-in at the cave exit. So now, Ash and the gang were trapped, since a whole bunch of rocks fell on the exit. And Team Rocket was able to simply laugh and go free. Ash and the gang and Adam were understandably worried, since they wouldn't be able to escape the cave now, but suddenly, they noticed the Relicanth all starting to swim in one direction. At first, Ash and the gang and Adam questioned where the Relicanth were going, and when one of the Relicanth paused from moving to call out to Ash and the gang and Adam, they realized that the Relicanth must have known an alternative way out of the cave, and they were motioning Ash and the gang and Adam to come with, seeing that they were actually good humans, unlike Team Rocket. So, Ash and the gang and Adam proceeded to get back into the submarine and followed the Relicanth to another underwater tunnel pathway that led out of the cave. Although, according to Adam's monitor in the submarine, the current was extremely fucking bad coming up, and it was even visible. Ash and the gang got worried when they saw this, but Adam was confident in his driving skills and assured Ash and the gang that they would make it through the current. And eventually, after an hour, along with the Relicanth, Ash and the gang and Adam managed to get out of the rough current unharmed. Ash and the gang and Adam's journey didn't end there though, as the Relicanth continued to take them closer to the surface. And Ash and the gang and Adam were fine with this, as they had lost track of Team Rocket anyway, so they felt like it would be a good time to go back to the surface and reunite with Evelyn and explain to her what was going on, and then go after Team Rocket from the surface. So, as they were going back up to the surface and managed to regain radio contact with Evelyn, after Evelyn had been trying for a very long time, desperately, Evelyn was relieved to have finally regained contact with Adam and Ash and the gang, and Adam explained to her the situation, and what had happened and all that, and how the Relicanth were leading them back up to the surface. And soon enough, Ash and the gang and Adam did arrive back at the surface, and went from the submarine back onto the boat. Once back on the boat, Ash and the gang called to all the Relicanth that were still there, and thanked them for their help with leading them out of the cave and getting them back up to the surface, stating that they couldn't have got back to the surface without them, and they would have been stuck in the underwater cave still. Adam had also told Evelyn how they had lost the treasure chest, even though they found it, and while Evelyn was initially mad at Adam for this, and particularly mad that he risked his life for nothing, Evelyn then picked up something on the ship's radar, which was Team Rocket in their Magikarp sub, so now they could just track down Team Rocket by following the radar and get the treasure back. Meanwhile, as for Team Rocket, some distance away, Team Rocket had surfaced onto a beach, coming there on their Magikarp sub, and they were still immensely happy with their victory upon getting the treasure, and were bragging about it. Preparing to open the chest, but just then, Ash and the gang showed up on Adam and Evelyn's boat, accompanied by all the Relicanth, as they demanded that Team Rocket give back the treasure, leaving Team Rocket shocked at how Ash and the gang had escaped the cave, but they refused to give back the treasure. So, May decided to send out Bulbasaur to grab the treasure chest with its vines using Vine Whip. While Ash and Adam continued to demand that Team Rocket give the treasure chest back, but although Bulbasaur was able to get a grasp on the chest with its vines, Team Rocket simply grabbed a hold of the chest to prevent Bulbasaur from pulling it away. And Jessie then sends Viper to use Poison Tail on Bulbasaur to break its hold on the chest and send Bulbasaur flying, leading Brock to send out Mudkip to try and stop Team Rocket with a water gun. And the Relicanth even join in using a Hydro Pump, which sends Team Rocket flying back, causing them to lose their grip on the chest and allowing Bulbasaur to use Vine Whip again, as Bulbasaur recovered, and sure enough, it grabs the chest with its Vine Whip and gives it to Adam. Then Pikachu used Thunderbolt to send Team Rocket blasting off, including Wobbuffet and Chimecho. Adam was extremely excited, as now he could finally open the treasure chest, and Ash and the gang and Evelyn all crowded around him, excited to see what he would get. But much to Adam's disappointment and everyone's surprise, all that they found inside the chest was more green emeralds. Brock, however, was not disappointed, stating that in the past, maybe these emeralds were really worth something, and added that they may even be worth more than more common emeralds that were found in other places today. Adam didn't care about this whatsoever, though, so Evelyn cheered him up, saying that they could use these emeralds for custom-made jewelry, and they could sell them for money anyways. Because, just like with the necklace, even though it wasn't the treasure Adam was looking for, it was still useful and could make them some money. Upon hearing about jewelry, May got extremely interested, and she only got even more excited when Evelyn promised to make a piece of jewelry exclusively for May out of the emeralds, and May happily thanked Evelyn for this, stating how beautiful the emeralds were. Adam then thanked the Relicanth for everything they've done today, and stated that he was still going to continue to search for more treasure. Even though the treasure in the ship wasn't really anything super rare, he knew that there had to be some other rare treasure out there, and he was going to do everything in his power to find it, and got excited at the prospect of some legendary treasure that he didn't know about yet. All the Relicanth then go back into the ocean, as Adam wishes them luck in finding a new home, since the ship was basically fucked up, and Ash and the gang wished Adam luck on finding some lost unknown treasure as well. And with that, Ash and the gang said goodbye to Adam and Evelyn and the Relicanth, and continued on their journey to Maz Deep City.